was until law school. Like I had
Okay.
never knew
Right,
about
right,
that.
right.
But you know, these are things that we should learn, you know, early on. Just like with financial literacy, we
Mm-hmm.
like these certain aspects that it's going to help growth and then help generational wealth. Like we
Mm-hmm.
definitely need to instill that in our families and our loved ones. But definitely wills and trusts. Either way, either one, they're both different tools.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it's really dependent on the person and then you know their estate size,
Right.
who their beneficiaries are, if they have any beneficiaries, things of that
Mm-hmm.
nature. So again, it's going to just depend on the circumstances of that individual, but I
Right.
definitely would recommend at least setting up some type of living trust
Mm-hmm.
while you're alive so that you can facilitate things, you
So there
know.
are different types of trust. You got living, and you
hmm
also got what?
So you have the revocable trust
Revocable.
and then the irrevocable.
Mm-hmm.
So the revocable is when you can still use it
Mm-hmm.
while you're alive. You're still making
Right.
distributions
This.
and things,
Mm-hmm.
and then once you've passed on, now it becomes irrevocable, of course.
So the same thing will apply for those who are in business, you know,
hmm
especially when you have a business that's perhaps doing well, and
Yep.
you probably have to have that in place. Now, what I found out that was most important, and it took me a minute to understand that, but you know, a few years after that, having key man insurance for your business, you know, how important that is for an entrepreneur.
Again, that's important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to make sure you're protected in
Mm-hmm.
all different facets, and I
Right.
think definitely want to pursue that as well. I would make sure, as a business owner, you have legal counsel
Mm-hmm.
and you have a bookkeeper,
Yeah.
CPA, someone you can trust. You know, you want to make
Right.
sure someone's looking into your books and you know your taxes. You want to make sure you have some type of trusting relationship with them.
Boy, did I learn that the
And
hard
yeah,
way. I mean, my stuff was jacked up, you know, until, you know, we had to sit down and say, hey, we can't go like this no more.
hmm
You know, and a lot of time, you know, especially African American business, they suffer in silence because they don't want to go out and
Yeah.
do it, or they feel as though that they can't afford it. You can, you know, you can't afford not to do it
right,
when it comes
right.
down to it, when you're talking
hmm
about building a business.
Yeah.
So wills, trust, and estate plan is very important on that. Tell us, the audience, how could someone reach you when it comes down to that?
Sure. You can go to my website if you
Mm-hmm.
like. So it's greenlawvirtual.com. And if you go on there, you can schedule a complimentary 15-minute appointment.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I'll just kind of learn about, you know, what services I can provide to you. You know, I may learn a little bit more about your business, get some insight on where we can take you in terms of growth or just protecting, you know, where you're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
Also, I'm on Instagram, Miss Law,
Oh,
MSLA.
Miss Law.
Miss
All
Law,
right, I like that. Oh.
MSLAWWW.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, those are just two of the ways you could contact me.
Mm-hmm. Tell us something else. What do you want our audience to know about you, the
Um,
individual?
The individual, I would say I'm a nurturing individual,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of times clients don't let you be nurturing. But so I will say I have to meditate a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and I do yoga,
Okay.
and that's what keeps me centered because
Oh,
you know, dealing with clients.
right.
Honestly, after the first conversation, I can feel their troubles and their stresses
Mm-hmm.
lifting off their shoulders and onto mine. So it's like once they
Wow.
know, like, you know, I'm retained by them.
Mm-hmm.
I could just feel the weight lifting off of
Yeah.
them, and so that becomes my stress. So I have to figure out, and I've done, you know,
Mhm.
good at doing this now, but how to decompartmentalize and sever clients' matters from making it my own matters. So I've just done that by staying centered, grounded, meditation, yoga, things
So
of that
there's a
nature.
spiritual connection with the
Yes.
Father. But let me share this with you as well. Purpose. How important is purpose in your life? How important is purpose?
I mean, without purpose, it's like where do you go?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's like you almost
Yeah.
need purpose to, wake up and pursue the day.
Mm-hmm.
You got to have some purpose, even if it's just, I'm going to relax today. That's your purpose.
Right.
But definitely purpose is eccentric in your life.
Well, I'm under the mindset, and I've been a partaker of it for years, that I had to cut myself out of it being a wandering genealogy, not realizing who I am or what I am and what my responsibility is. And once I learned what my purpose is, I started diving into it. And that's the reason why I asked the question, purpose, and why purpose is so important. Yes.
Yeah.
We're also going to talk about success. And you are already, successful. But I was told by a friend of mine who just recently passed away that nobody owns success. They can use it, they can put it down. And I thought that was very, I never looked at it from that standpoint. Success comes to some people, and sometimes you're successful, sometimes you're not. It depends on what it is that you're doing at the time. You could be highly accomplished, and then there are other things that you may fail at. But, it passes by. But 50% of success is really showing up every day.
Yeah.
I've always told that, if you show up every day. Now, are there times that you don't even want to go to work? No. Do you ever get like that?
I always get like that.
You don't get like that. No, not
No, I
real
work from home
accomplished.
now. I'm appointment only, so I'm only in the office now to see a client, but
Right.
I work from home.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
you want to control your time.
I do, and
yeah.
I've been pretty successful at doing that.
That's
So
good.
I was gonna say success is, it's different levels to success. Some people's success may not be, what mine is.
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
really just, measurable.
Right.
Success can be very
Yeah.
measurable.
I think I first met you during the pandemic. We were doing a webinar, and you were talking about your particular field of endeavor. But last year I had the opportunity, Furman and I, to do some film for the Strikers Lawyers Association. Tell us about that, which you are now the president.
Yes,
Congratulations.
I am. Thank you. And thank you
Yes.
for coming and covering that event for us. That's one of our major fundraising events for the bar year. And we've been making a big impact, and thank you so much for giving us
Well,
that.
let me ask you this. How does somebody so young get to be in that position? I think you got to be about the youngest lawyer that's in there.
Oh, thank you. I'll take that. But yeah, there's some other younger attorneys as well.
Know.
But
I know there's a bunch of young
But
ones
I'll
in there,
take
but
that.
I don't know if they took that position. That's a heavy-duty
Yeah.
position, to help lead,
yeah.
a number. How many members of the lawyers that's in that association?
we have about 90 members.
Right,
Yep,
okay, I know it's quite a few.
Yeah, it's quite a few. And
Yeah.
we started serving in Oakland County
Okay.
just because they had special, unique needs for a
Right.
bar association,
Yeah,
where
yeah.
Wayne County attorneys had certain support systems in place. But in Oakland County, it was around the time L. Brooks Patterson era,
Right.
in 1990, where the attorneys needed a resource, an association, because they were being overlooked for job opportunities, political positions, different judicial appointments. So the Bar Association was there to service that need. Now we've expanded more out into, all of this communities with disparities.
Right.
Not so much Oakland County focused. But,
Okay.
But yeah,
Okay.
we have attorneys in Washtenaw County, for instance, that are on our bar association. So, and I've been serving as a board member. It's been 10 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was.
But
I
you
guess
look
it was,
so young. You're just 16 years old.
yeah, I know, right? So I was 6 when I got started on it. And here I am now, the
Right.
president. So I'm
Well,
kinda
that's
just
good.
riding the
I know
waves.
it's a major milestone. I think the people who have the confidence in you, especially after, listening to you and seeing how you displayed and move around, within the organization. So I'll say congratulations again.
Thank you.
And we would like to attend this upcoming one this year. And that would be
Absolutely.
what, 31 years? Or is it 32?
Yep, the 31st. Yep.
31st anniversary?
Yes,
Okay.
so we're-
That's Trailblazers Award.
Trailblazers Award. It's
Oh,
going to
don't
be
know.
on Juneteenth. This
Juneteenth.
year.
Oh, wow.
So we have-
Juneteenth.
Yeah, so
Okay.
something special in store, and it's going to
Right.
be at the Mint, actually, at the Michigan First Conference Center in Southfield.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So I'll keep you apprised.
Yeah,
to
keep
that.
us with what's
Yeah.
going on, going on with that, because it was interesting talking with all those lawyers. And you know
Yeah.
what I realized too, in covering that event, a lot of the lawyers turned into judges,
Mm.
and that was there.
Okay.
They started out in law, and now they was on the bench, and it was quite a few
Okay.
judges there.
Yeah. It was.
I'm saying, whoa,
Yeah.
everybody was in that community.
My mom, she's been trying to coerce me into becoming a judge, and I told her, well, ultimately, my passion is to be a professor.
Right.
But in law school, they would say the A students always turn out to be professors.
Okay.
The B students turn out to be judges, and the C students make all the money.
Oh, okay. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to Makai Green, and we'll be right back with Bartell's Business. All right, going to the last episode.